Athletics will take over. The Paralympic Games will take over. And this will go on till September 8, 2024 in Paris. So ahead of this, the Ghana Team Ghana sent a 5-member para-athletics team to participate in this year's Para-Athletics Grand Prix, which started on April 25. It took 3 days. And the event was part of the qualification events for Paris 2024 Paralympic Games. Ghana won some 3 medals. So one of the medalists, Edmond Govina, is here in the studio. He is here ably supported by his coach Aminu Suleiman. And the interesting thing about Edmond is that he's a bronze medalist. He's a first-timer track and field para-athlete from Ghana, and he placed third in the FC46 men's discus throw with a personal best distance of 18.04 meters. And so we're going to be talking about all of that. The whole team is here. And so, of course, later on, we'll delve into issues of the Black Stars and Accra Hearts of Oak. I'm sure that you've been monitoring and you've been seeing the performances of some of the players or the core or key players that have been receiving call-ups for national team duty for the last 2 years. You know, some of them have been performing creditably. And how do these performances weave into what we're looking forward to in the Black Stars team? These are conversations we'll be having later on here in the show. Let's now throw the focus on para-athletics. So I'm glad to welcome to the studio our very good friends from the national para-athletics team. Thank you very much for joining us, Coach. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you so much. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you here.
Thank you very much, sir.
Let me begin with Coach Aminu. Coach, it's a very big task in the sense that after the big success of the very first Paralympic Games to be held, on African soil, and then eventually the African Games, we're looking forward to now going to the ultimate, which is the Olympic Games and the Paralympic Games. Now, how challenging has it been getting the minds of your para-athletes ready for this big task? You've just gone through a qualification phase. We're waiting for the confirmation. But you just tell me, how psyching them up for all of this has gone before we start talking about the technicalities of how they can qualify.
Good afternoon once again. Good afternoon to your listeners and your viewers. We started training at Elwak Sports Stadium with my athlete, being by Zainabu, Edmond, Dinah, and Amos.
Coach, before you go on, the subject of the Elwak Stadium is one very big one. Now, for some years, the conversation that we had with you, the technical, I spoke to some of your colleagues, was that, well, aesthetically, the track at the Elwak Stadium may not look good aesthetically. Yeah. However, in terms of it helping training, it's pretty good and pretty ideal. Tell us whether at this stage and on this date, we can still say the same of that track at the Elwak Stadium.
No place.
Okay.
No place. That track there is not standard for training.
It's not standard for training.
But
at
we
this
are
time.
managing. We are managing
Okay.
it.
Did you try out any other options?
I think our authorities tried to go to Legon after the All African Games. They wrote a letter to Legon so that we can move the training from Elwak to Legon. What I learned is they said it's not yet open to public to use.
Well, but you're a national team. You're not just regular members of the public. You're a national team.
But that is what I got, the information that I got.
Okay.
So
Were you told when these facilities will be ready and will be open? Did they give you any such confirmations?
They say very soon.
Very soon, but not specific.
They say very soon.
Okay. So then if you're using, you are having to make do with a substandard track, how well can it help the training and how well can it help what you're doing?
Yep. First, when always we move to training grounds, I just call them, sit them down. I just advise them and tell them that, look, what we are doing, you are not doing it for me, you are doing it for yourself. The moment that you move into the track, you feel that you are special. If you feel that you are special, you can do it. Whatever situation is, you can come over it.
I see. Interesting. How long have you been in training? How long has this been?
Oh, we started training with 2011, 2012. We started training.
I see. Okay. Now, let's talk about the qualifying event that took place in Morocco. And also, I'm glad to have Amos Ahiaga, who's a T46 para athlete here with me. Amos, good to have you also in the studio. Welcome.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Very well. Let's have your thoughts as well. How did the competition go for you when you look at the kind of quality that your fellow para athletes from other parts of the continent brought? How would you rate yourself within that whole very big space?
Yeah, like it was good opportunity for us, but when you get there, you are almost 60 countries, and I was the only person who ran for Ghana, and for us we are plenty. So I ran heats. So when I ran my heats, I was second, but when they ranked the time, they said I was fourth.
I see. Were you in any way disappointed with that performance? I mean, no, the result that came eventually.
Yes, please, because I was very disappointed because when I trained at EWAC, my 100 meters time was 11.63.
Okay.
But when I got there, when they checked the time, they said I ran 12.445. So I was very disappointed because how can I run 11 at EWAC when I got there, the time changed. So I was very disappointed about that.
Tell me about the atmosphere there. Weather conditions. I mean, it gets pretty cold in Morocco sometimes. We're not sure about the conditions at the time when you participated. And also tell me about the general atmosphere, whether it affected you psychologically or.
Yeah, that one there, surely.
Okay, tell me about it.
Affected me small because the time I was run the 400 meters, it was breezy small over there. So like I was feeling very cold, and even I can't even move my hands. So even the colleagues I'm there with, they are even watching me how the weather entered me. Like I was feeling very cold. So with that, when I was on the track and when they said on your marks, I shake small.
I see.
So I couldn't even get up quick. So they move on before I get up.
I see. All right. So now you finished fourth with that time, and then it means that you effectively will not get the opportunity to go to the Paralympic Games. Is that the case?
Yeah, you have last qualification at Paris, which will held at next month 13th.
Okay.
That was the last qualification. So I'm training hard to make it there.
Okay.
So that I can qualify to the Paris Olympics game.
Okay. Now, I'm sure you've had conversations with some of your friends or some of your fellow para athletes from other countries. What have they told you about their preparations and what has gone into getting themselves ready for those big competitions?
Well, because because of them, where they are, they always train morning, afternoon, and the evening. But because of you don't have much facilities here, so you normally train only once in, maybe in the morning. You train in the morning. In the evening you can't train, and you don't have gym too. So all these things, like, yeah, asking the government to support us with that so that we can get a chance to train and build up ourselves very well.
Very well. Let's come to you, Edmund. Edmund, congratulations.
Thank you very much, sir.
Good to have you here in the studio as well.
Thank you.
Now, pretty similar set of questions I'm going to ask you as well. In your career, this obviously was one of your biggest stages, isn't it?
Exactly. Absolutely.
Tell me about the experience of taking part in this big qualifier in Morocco.
Yes, I think Morocco was great. I think we had some great experience in Morocco. First of all, myself and then the rest of the team, our main focus was to be classified as professional or elite athletes, first of all. And then the second thing has got to do with making sure that we are able to also present ourselves for the high performance standards for the Paralympics, and then to also get a minimum mark to be able to qualify. So getting the opportunity to represent our country actually in Morocco was a great deal for us. And I mean, it was good. It was good that we went to Morocco. The experience, the exposure and everything has been fantastic for us.
We've had conversations about your, the facilities that we have here and what you had to use to prepare. Tell me about what you saw in Morocco. What your impressions are about, the North African nation regarding the pool of facilities that they have.
Exactly. I think Coach and then my colleague Amos mentioned some of the challenges that we faced here. It hasn't been easy, actually, because we've always been training, but we've never had the opportunity to be evaluated well or had that particular assessment that would actually line up with our impairment or the sports and then the classifications, that the classes that we were going to perform in. But going into Morocco, we realized that facilities were in place. Everybody or the athletes were, very, very conscientized about whatever they were going to do and everything. For us, in our trainings, we actually watched either on YouTube and other places to make sure that this is what we were going to do. But when we go to Morocco, we realized the facilities there were fantastic. It was great. They were very, very accessible for some of us, the athletes. I mean, in my class, for instance, we had people who trained there usually morning, afternoon, evening, like Amos said, and they really knew what it took for them to participate in that particular competition. But going into it, we've learned a lot of experiences, and we believe that going forward we'll be able to also put ourselves together in that contest and then perform ahead.
Let's talk about your competition, how you went about it and how the whole bronze winning feat came about.
Exactly. Yes. So I am an F46 field athlete. So I participated in the discus throw, the F46 discus, F46 javelin, and then F46 shot put. So for my impairment, I was supposed to, with regards to my bronze medal, my impairment has got to do with how do we call it? It's a limb deficiency. Okay. And then since it's a limb deficiency, it's technically I'm supposed to have some limitations that would allow me to perform equally, fairly with my other colleagues. But the discus per se, I need to put myself in a situation where there are other nations that didn't actually even compete. Okay. Because they realized the limitations with F46 discus. A lot of nations pulled out at a point. But I was also put together with other classes to perform, and then by the grace of God, I came out to win bronze.
Let's talk about the way forward. There's conversation about having another or a final qualifier that will be held in Paris ahead of the games. Exactly. Now, how are you also positioning your mind? I mean, you've had a fair share, a fair idea of what the competition out there looks like. Now there will be another opportunity. How are you preparing your mind for it? Especially considering that nothing has improved here on the scene, when it comes to the provision of infrastructure and all of that.
Okay. So first of all, I think after the whole games in Morocco and after the post games, we actually sat down and then had some conversations with our coach and then the National Paralympic Committee, and they've assured us that this time around they are going to provide us the facility at Legon for us to also have that standard facility to be able to prepare. So I'm assuring you that if we get those facilities and we're able to put ourselves together and then train harder and are able to go to camp early and then put ourselves together, I believe we're going to make the mark for Paris.
Well, if you just joined us, we're having a conversation about the upcoming Paralympic Games, and that will be held after the Olympic Games in France. And here with me are our coach Aminu Suleiman. He's the head coach of the Paralympic athletics team, para-athletics team, and two para-athletes in Amos Ahiaga and also Edmond Govina. They're also looking forward to making qualification for the next Paralympic Games in Paris. Let's talk about timelines and projections and all of that. We all know what the problem is. We all know what the problems are. They don't look like they'll be solved anytime soon. And this seems to be a chorus that we are singing year in, year out about lack of support for sports and by extension, para sports. Now, coach, what is your plan between now and when the final qualifier comes up?
As a coach, I've talked to my athlete that we are starting training from Monday.
Okay.
We came in. After we came in, I gave them a rest, 2 days rest. So I told them we have a lot to do. So please, we are starting training on Monday.
Is this residential camping or non-residential camping?
For now, as usual, home and coming.
Wow.
As usual.
Coach, how do you feel about this? Because it looks like every other year or every other Olympic cycle or Paralympic cycle, we always go through, these conversations. We always have to talk about these conversations, talk about the inadequacies, and we don't seem to make headway.
All is about funding, support, because it seems like NPC is there. They are doing their best.
The National Paralympic Committee,
yes, please,
led by Mr. Samson Dean.
Yes, please. They are doing their best. I think if corporate Ghana can come in, or the government also can give him a support, we can achieve what para athletics want to achieve.
We had the very first edition of the African Paralympic Games here in Ghana.
Yes.
In terms of organization, obviously was a resounding success. What do you think that will do, or hosting that games will do, in terms of raising awareness and helping people to bring their minds towards the para sports and para athletics for that matter?
If you look at our stadiums, they are not friendly to disabled people. But when we went to Morocco, everything is free. Those with wheelchair, you see them coming in. But here, if you go to Accra Sports Stadium with a wheelchair, unless somebody give him a support. So they should put this one into consideration. Next time, they should give them also free accessibility to the stadiums.
Let's talk about the competition that's coming up. I mean, your ultimate aim is to make sure that you qualify your para athletes. Okay, so realistically, what are the chances? I mean, that's what we need to start talking about. Realistically and practically, what are the chances? I like the smile on your face.
our chances is bright. That's why I said we need support. If we get support, we are going to make the nation proud.
Support is the name of the game.
Yes, we need support.
Let's get closer to the para athletes. Amos and Edmund. Let's begin with you, Edmund. What sparked the decision to play para sport and become, a professional for that matter? What was the motivation?
Well, I had a traumatic amputation in a car accident, and after my accident, I think in my rehabilitation, that's where I was going through and then exploring, and I realized I could do sports. I used to love sports earlier, but later I realized even with my impairment, I would be able to perform sports or enjoy sports at the professional level. So I think the NPC Ghana was running a program which is Para Sports Against Stigma, and then I contacted them, and then through that, their guidance and everything, I'm here today. Not just because of my experiences that I had in my rehabilitation, I realized there are a lot of people who had gone through my ordeal and didn't know what to do actually. So I realized if I should do sports and be able to also inspire quite a number of people, especially the younger ones, I believe we can get somewhere. And since a lot of people are not aware of para sports in this country, I'm just looking forward to also making a mark and then to inspire the younger ones out there. So.
Yeah. Tell us about yours, Amos. What's your projection, your future projection for now as well?
Well, my future projection, like me too, I began the athletics when I was primary.
You were in primary school, huh?
Yes, please.
At the time,
that
okay.
time, like I was in class, and it's time for inter-school. So the teacher came to sack everyone to the field, and no matter who you are, he will allow you to participate. So when he sacked everyone to the field, and he selected me to join a group of people to run, so he was shocked. I became first. So since that day, he selected me to be part of the school team. So we got to a time, like I was in primary, but when you go to inter-schools, they have to scale us. So anytime I will be overweight, so he allowed me to join the JSS people, and I ran with them, and I became first. So when he finished the inter-schools, and a man came close to me and came to approach me that how I'm good. He wanted to train me so that I can become somebody in future. And this is the man, Ibrahim Suleiman Amidu. He came to me and he came to approach me that he wanted to train me since today. So every Saturday, I should come to training at Ewak. And since that day, I have been training with him almost 10 years now.
Coach, what did you see in him? You are here, and thank you and congratulations for discovering this good talent. What did you see? What specifically did you see from the technical end of things?
Yep. You see, able people have balance. Disabled people, for him like it, he don't have balance. So if you say on your marks, those with two arms will get advantage over him. But what I saw him is the way he moved from the block. They will go and leave him, but the way he will move from behind to come and overtake them, that's inspired me to just approach him.
Okay, and this was what, a decade ago?
Yes.
I see.
By then he was in class 6 or so. But he always ran with the JHS people.
I see. Interesting. What keeps all of you going in the face of all of this? Because, like I said, these problems are not new to us. These issues are not new to us. We keep pushing, we keep making noise about them, but the pace of everything getting done is pretty slow.
One, all is about trust. They trust me. I also trust them. If something is not going on right with him, I'll call him down. I'm not talking to him as a coach. I talk to him as a brother. Because if I'm talking to him as a coach, you feel bored. So I talk to him as a brother. I sat him down. We all sat on the floor. I talked to him. Amos, you are doing this wrong. I want you to do this or that. What you are doing will not help us. Let's come together and work as a team. That keeps us going.
Wow, interesting. All right, now, Edmond, I want you to tell me, about the needs and the specifics that you'd want to get done, so that you will all be comfortable, you all have the peace of mind and the presence to train adequately, train well, and get these results for us.
All right, sir, please. In the interim, I think we are currently preparing for the last qualification, and would please and urge that um, the corporate entities, government is doing its best, and then the NPC is also doing its best. We're praying that they would be able to support us to train adequately for the Grand Prix coming up in Paris, and we hope that other entities as well would also support us financially or any way possible. Like you said, if the facilities are going to be made available for us, it should be with immediate effect, so that at least we can also have that standard to perform, to train harder, and be able to represent and then qualify.
Well, so we're still here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. You heard Edmond Gavina. Edmond Gavina is a bronze medalist from the last Paralympic Grand Prix that was held in Morocco, and he is looking forward to having qualifications sealed for the next Olympic Games. Also here with us in studio is Amos Akiaga, a man who has a very interesting story of getting discovered by the current national coach of the para-athletic team, and he talks about the special talent that he saw in him a decade ago, based on which he had the belief that he could turn him around into a good para athlete. And of course, this is what we see here now. Send in your thoughts. It's 055 055-11-11997. Okay, Edmond, you want to add something briefly?
Exactly. I wanted to also chip in that our other two colleagues, which is Zenabu Isa and then Diana Kubekte, they are the people also keeping us together. They have inspired us a lot in Morocco, and I'm sure that Zenabu Isa is almost ahead of us, and she is in a pole position to qualify for Paris already. Her feet is almost there. We are also giving her a special mention, so that we let her know that she's also inspiring some of us. And as we are going to Paris, I'm very sure we're going to make the mark for all of us to represent the nation, sir.
Great stuff. Great stuff. Let's get into the details of the technicalities. What exactly will be required to confirm qualification for the athletes? Because there are times when competitions will be held, and the athletes would have to wait. Para athletes will also have to wait for a bit for calculations to be done, so that ratings are done based on which some will be confirmed and some otherwise. Can you take us through it, Coach?
Yep, it's all about point. You are building up for a point. Maybe they started this Grand Prix since, I think, last year. Last year, we couldn't get a chance to go. So those who have started going on, they are building up a point. So this the last one is in France. So as a team Ghana, we must go to Paris to seal our point, so that we can make it to Paris.
Okay.
It's a point build up.
I see. So it's more of a points build-up. That is what Coach is explaining to us at this time. Like I said, your messages are very welcome. It's 055-11-11997 here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. Remember, you can send in these messages, and in a bit as well, we'll be zooming in on the high performers, Ghana's high performers in various leagues around the world, and how that can become a big blessing for the Black Stars and their exploits going forward. We're still here on the show. Your messages are very welcome. Remember, it's 055-11-11997. You can also send us a message on X. It's at Joy Sports GH. At Joy Sports GH.
Move it. I like to move it.
for everyone once people want to get up there and get into other competitions. What has the local or domestic competitive scene been like, over the period and over the years? How does the calendar look like, especially if you're here, you're a para athlete, away from being religious and being very regimented with your training and being disciplined as well? What are the opportunities that we have created, or the para athletic ecosystem has created for these athletes to take part in, so they can keep improving on their skill?
Thank you very much. You see, as we, let me say, Ghana, we as a country, we haven't been to any para track and field event. We have to organize some local track and field event, because if you organize track and field event here, that's why we can see the good ones that we can send out. But here everybody is afraid of, Charlie, let me see, because of money issue. You write a proposal to ministries, still ministries will tell you there's no money. Because organizing this event is not easy. It's not easy. So, you see, when we went to Morocco, the athletes themselves saw, because what we have here and what they saw there, they saw far difference. Far difference.
Well,
I like to move it.
is it worth fighting for such a country? Do you ever feel you found yourself in the wrong jurisdiction and your talent is being wasted? Well, this is coming from the taxpayer, our texter. Today. Coach?
No place.
Okay. What about you?
Because wherever you are, you have to appreciate it. Whatever God gives you, just appreciate it. Be happy of what you have.
Yes, for me, I think it's still about awareness. I believe Ghana hasn't gotten to the level where we understand what exactly sports can do for a lot of people living with impairments. And since people have the mindset that para sports is very expensive, which it is, it will take some time. And I believe that people need to also start something. I believe a number of people have represented us in the Paralympics before, since 1990 till now, I think. So I believe that it's about time that some of us also try and then go in to inspire the younger ones and make people understand the benefits of para sports for the younger generation coming up.
On the Joy Sports link on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Nathaniel Attoh, here with the rest of the Joy Sports team. So, final sets of messages from you, gentlemen, before we wrap up this this part of the conversation. Okay, Amos, I see everybody's throwing it to you. So, it's just like you are in the track and you are getting ready for a big battle. What's the final message, to Ghanaians and to the authorities, to government, everybody else?
Yeah, like my final message to the government and the ministry is that, like, they should come out with full support, because when they support the para athletes, I have the morale and the vim in my colleagues that you can go out there and bring more gold medal to the nation. So you just need a full support from the government and the ministries.
All right. All All right. I'm sure you've also got something to say.
Exactly. Like Amos said, we would urge the government to do more. The government is already doing its best. The MPC Ghana and then the African Paralympic Committee is also supporting us. And I pray that they will be able to support the president for the African Paralympic Committee and then the National Paralympic Committee, Mr. Samson Dean, to be able to also to ensure that we are able to go into these competitions to qualify. We're praying that everybody should bring their hands on board to support us with whatever amenities or whatever facilities or whatever funds or supports that we will need to be able to achieve this feat. We welcome all of them, and I believe and I would assure them that we will surely qualify and bring something to Ghana.
All girls all over the world. Original man, stuntman, punch.
Edmond Govina there, and also Amos Ahiaga,
All girls,
ably supported by the head coach of
you
the
move your body. Wanna move it nice and sweet and sexy.
national parathletic team,
Come on, you cute.
Coach Aminu Suleiman. Coach, thank you so much, gentlemen. Thank you.
Come on, you cute. I don't know. Original cute.
So all things being equal, we should see, one or two of you qualify for the Paralympic Games, isn't it?
We are going to be more than two.
More than two, inshallah.
Inshallah.
Come on, you nice, sweet.
All right, thank you all very much. Thank you so much, gentlemen. And we'll be monitoring the team and we'll be updating our listeners and our viewers as we go along. Thank you so much, and we're wishing you all well.
Bitch up on the ocean, that's a bit Titanic. Come on. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. Yes,
So in the coming months,
I like to move it.
the national parathletic team will be preparing for the final qualifier. Let's see how all of it goes. So still here on the Joy Sports Link. In a bit, we'll be zooming in on Accra Hearts of Oak. The record over the last couple of games has not been satisfactory at all. Not at all. And honestly,
Oh man, you cute. I don't need no me.
it sure is going to be something that people will be talking about greatly.
Don't need no me.
Let's spend a couple of minutes on Accra Hearts of Oak, shall we?
When you fit a big man, mud up those powder. When you fit a
I mean, we've had situations where the head coach has had to walk
nice broad face
walk towards the fence which separates the inner perimeter from the stands
and energetic.
to talk to some very angered fans, explain to them.
And you nice tip. Big man.
I mean, he's spoken about the erratic power supply, which we refer to as doomsaw. And he's also spoken about the availability of, not so solid material. That's what he's working with. He says that the material he has available is what he's working with. Some agree with him. Some also don't agree with him.
Move it. You like to move it. I like to move it, move it.
We're going to be speaking to the head of the
Like to move
National Chapters Committee,
You like to
Mr. Elvis Herman Hesse. He leads the supporters body of Accra Hearts of Oak, the National Chapters Committee.
move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to
How can this be repaired? Because you do remember that in the centenary year of Accra Hearts of Oak, there was a similar situation where Accra Hearts of Oak was actually, threatened with relegation. Relegation staring them in the face. Still here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. Sending your messages. We'll be glad to have them. And the conversations continue. Of course, coming up will be that Black Stars conversation. The top performers in the big leagues around the world. And the effect on the Black Stars. Remember, the qualification series for USA, Mexico, Canada 2026 started already.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it.
man, Fentu Tahiru Fentro, will be there to cover and bring us some of the stories from the camp. And now, quite a number of our athletes are also taking part, looking forward to booking qualification spots. And that has been the conversation in the last couple of minutes here on the Joy Sports Link. And that one was for the Paralympic Games. Now we're focusing on the Olympics, which will be the first in the installment of multi-sport events that will be happening later this year. So let's have a conversation with Joy Sports Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Muftau has been monitoring. He also was part of the team that did the comprehensive coverage of the recently ended African Games and has got thoughts here. Thank you very much for joining us, Muftau. It's good to have you here on the show.
Matt, thank you very much for having me.
Now, the spirit of athletics was ignited a great deal during the African Games. The final events of the 100 meters, the final events of the 200, the final events of the 100 by 4, 4 by 100 meters event as well. Sparking a lot of interest and sparking a lot of great spirit. Now the job that remains is that our women have to qualify for the main, stage, which is the games. And of course, this qualifier will be bigger because it has a bigger subset, which is other continents coming over to take part in this one.
Nas, it's actually a very big platform. This is the competition put together by World Athletics to have teams secure qualification to the Paris Olympic Games. And it is a stage that you can secure automatic qualification by virtue of finishing among the top 2 in your heat. So currently, as you and I speak, Ghana stands a chance of qualifying to the Olympic Games if the likes of Joseph Paul Amoa, Benjamin Azamati, Ibrahim Husseini, Sonsafo Enchi, and Isaac Bochu are able to finish first or second in their heat, which is heat 1 in this World Athletics release. Ghana is in heat 1. They are in a heat of USA, who are the current world champions of the 4x1. They are also in the same heat with Italy, who are the defending champions of the Olympic title. You take a look at Team USA. They have Noah Lyles, who anchored home for them to win the world title in Budapest last year. They have Lindsay, who recently was in Kenya for the Cape Keno Classic, won the 200 meters when he came up against the only African man to have made a podium when it comes to the sprint races at World Championships in Lechile, Tobago. He defeated him. And you look at a team like Italy, which also has Matteo Jacobs. We also have Matteo Jacobs burst into the scene in the Tokyo Olympics when he won that final by 9.83 seconds, beating USA's Pet Kelly just by 0.4 seconds. So Ghana is in a very tough group. We're also in a group that has Liberia. Liberia, they were even in the African Games. They finished third behind Ghana. Then there's a place for the host Bahamas. They are also in the same group. Then there's also South Korea, Czech Republic, and South America champions Brazil. So Ghana's heat is quite a tough heat. But like I mentioned, this is a team that has been able to do it before. When they went to Celestia, trust me, many of us did not anticipate that they were able to, or they would be able to secure qualification, but they did it. The relay is an event that is not necessarily about how fast you are, but it is about how swift you are and smooth you are when it comes to the change of the percent. So one team might just make a mistake when it comes to the change of the baton and you're gone. And that is one area that I am hoping Team Ghana would be able to do. We have a very promising prospect like Ibrahim Husseini and Isaac Bochu. Isaac Bochu has been our fastest since the outdoor season began. He's been able to do sub 10. But we can always trust Benjamin Azamati when it comes to running the back straight. For the anchor, like the experienced Joseph Paul, there are few athletes in the world when it comes to anchoring who are better than Joseph Paul. When he's in flight mode, he's off, he's gone. And this team, anytime they find themselves in a competition where the stakes are very high, they tend to set national records. I remember in 2019 when they went to the African Games in Rabat, they set a national record where they were able to do 38.33. Then they went to Silesia where they dropped it, and they went to the World Champs. In fact, they went to the Olympics even before the World Champs where they dropped it, and then we went to the World Champs where they were able to do 38.07 seconds. And if these boys are able to run sub 38, I wouldn't be surprised to see them finishing as one of the best in this release. The Penn release, which happened on May 28th, the team finished behind Jamaica. So I am quite optimistic that this is a group that will be able to secure, or this is a heat Ghana would be able to qualify from. Now, just a brief overview of what is going to happen in the World Release. And I'm going to take it from the perspective of the kind of teams that are there. All of us would recall that since the last release in Silesia, there have been 3 major global competitions that have happened. We've had the Tokyo Olympics, we've had the World Athletics Championships, and both in Eugene and also in Budapest. In the Tokyo Olympics, we had Italy. In the World Championships in 2022, we had Canada. And the World Championships in 2023, we had USA winning the 4x1. All these teams are available for this weekend's World Relay. So it's a massive, massive competition. And the sprinters, I'm sure. I was listening to World Athletics President Sebastian Coe talk about how Start started this World Release is, because he believes that some of the best athletes in the world have all assembled, and it is going to be a big competition. Hopefully, Team Ghana would be among the top 2 to secure qualification. If they're not able to secure qualification today, what will happen is that they still have a chance of qualifying tomorrow. Ghana is ranked 15th in the world, but that ranking is nothing to write home about when it comes to this qualification, because you will have 16 teams qualified to the World Championship, to the Olympics in Paris, because it's always each heat is supposed to 32 countries are currently in the release, and each heat has about 78 countries, and it is 4 heats. So heat 1, heat 2, heat 3, heat 4. That gives us 32 countries. Ghana wants to finish among the top 2 for today. If they are able to finish within the top 2, Ghana automatically will be able to qualify. If they are not able to do it, the team still has a chance of qualifying, but they must still do same tomorrow, which is going to be the final day of the World Release in Bahamas. If that doesn't happen then they will need to pray that the other countries are not able to secure qualifications, where you will have to enter many competitions to stand a chance of making more points and qualify for the Paris Olympic Games.
Okay. So realistically, I mean, putting all of that, because, as professional journalists, sometimes, we also put a bit of sentimentality in there for the sake of patriotism and all of that. Realistically, you have a strong belief that it will happen and we will qualify. We would have some qualification spots, right?
Nat, I would be lying if I say that I'm not optimistic that this team can qualify. It is a team I know very well. It is a team I have followed very well. I know these athletes at close range. I've had conversations with them at close range, and I have a very clear idea of what this team can do. However, we cannot deny the fact that by virtue of just being lined up against countries like USA and Italy, who are world champions and Olympic defending champions, there wouldn't be some pressure on Team Ghana. You also have the South American champions in Brazil who are also in there. The host Bahamas, they are a very strong country. You cannot underrate them. Then there is Liberia as well and Korea as well as Czech Republic. But like I mentioned earlier, Nat, it's about how smooth you are with the baton. If the boys are able to get the baton over to each other as smooth as possible, winning their heat is not out of place. You can always have the names representing the various countries. Lindsay, who's already doing sub 20 in the 200 meters. Noah Lyles is doing sub 20 in 200 meters. He's doing sub 10 in the 100 meters. And our athletes, apart from Isaac Bocho, who has been the fastest so far, who is able to do sub 10, we've not seen any sub 10 from any other athlete. In Benjamin Azamati, since he was able to run 9.90 seconds about 4 years ago, he's not been able to break it further. And trust me, Nat, in this year's Olympic Games, you need a time of 10 seconds to be able to qualify, only 10.03 seconds to qualify. And our athletes have not been able to do that. It clearly tells us that in terms of the standard we are looking at from our athletes, it appears they have dropped a bit, but I'm quite optimistic that if they are able to get the baton over as quick as possible, it's gone. Isaac Bocho, I believe, might be the person starting the race, and Benjamin Azamatu will do the back straight. And when Ben does the back straight, maybe Ibrahim Kuseni, quite good, finished fourth in the African Games, 200 meters final. Very sweet when it comes to taking the bend. If he does a third leg and the experience Joseph Olamo is doing the anchor, I am very confident that the team would be able to make it. It's not about being patriotic, but it's about knowing the quality of these athletes that we have and knowing what the likes of Italy and USA also presents. Arian Knighton, who was one of the star athletes for the US in the World Champs in Budapest, he's not here. He's one of the fastest athletes in the world. He's not here. Benarek is there. Benarek was in Kenya for the Kipkono Classic. Yeah, so you look at Benarek, you look at Noah Lyles, you look at Lindsay, and you go like, this is a team that is going to be quite difficult to compete against. But a mistake can happen when it comes to the baton. Team Ghana can also make a mistake. So, but
well,
we
don't want any mistakes. I mean, the last mistake hopefully happened. It wasn't really a mistake. It was just a little second of 2 seconds of drop off of focus and all of that. I'm hoping that we get it right. Muftar, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the in-depth analysis on our chances. We'll be doing some more as we build up to the events later today. And of course, you'd have to follow us on our various handles as we bring you coverage. Aman, Tahiru Fentu is out there getting us all of those updates from the inside of the camp. Muftar, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, Nat.
Okay, we're going to fly to Paris. And why am I talking about Paris now? Look, we've been talking about Paris because, in a couple of months' time, the French capital will be the center of attraction because of the Olympic Games and the Paralympic Games. And, of course, talk about the, our exploits in the showbiz industry internationally and all of that. We would love to see the man, King Promise, play this song and perform it Probably at the opening ceremony, isn't it? Yeah, why not? Get our athletes there to take part in the game, the games itself proper. Go and kill themselves and, try hard to win medals. And then get our musicians, our artists as well, to be there on the stages. Let's see what happens. King promise for the opening ceremony of Paris 2024. It won't be bad at all, eh? Well, one man who probably could also find himself in Paris is Fifi Manfred. Always likes to wear very trendy, shirts on the weekends when we're having the show. Last weekend he was on the show, remember? So Fifi is taking it easy right there, in the Garden City, in the heart of the Garden City. The Garden City has been focusing very heavily on the 25th anniversary celebrations of the Otumfuo, Osetutu. We spoke about Kotoko last weekend. Today we'll do a bit of Hearts of Oak, but the key focus is the Black Stars. It is always said that once we have some key players of the team performing very, very well in the top-rated leagues in the world, it has a direct bearing on the performance of the national team. And you'd want to go back to the year 2005, 2006 when Ghana was trying to qualify for her first World Cup. The team led by Stephen Appiah, the inspirational captain of the Black Stars at the time. So with what has happened over the last year and a half, some of the performances which have been termed, the worst on the stage of the Africa Cup of Nations, at the FIFA World Cup as well. Now the focus is rebuilding and going back real strong. But how can we get this done? How well are the guys doing? Let me just take you through a few before bringing Fifi in. In the last 2 match days, we've seen Thomas Partey do amazingly well on his return from injury. At the last count, he was brought on, played for about 75 minutes in the game. And the description by, the Arsenal's coach is that this man is just a key member of this side. We can't run away from it. Refreshing to hear. But while you're doing that as well, you're keeping your fingers crossed and saying your prayer to God that he shouldn't get injured ever again, at least for the next 2 or 3 years, because he's needed. So let me just quickly take you through some of the stats that have been happening for some of these players. West Ham's Kudus Mohammed, the poster boy of the Black Stars. The biggest in terms of value in the Black Stars now. So played 45 games, 17 goals scored and 6 assists. Abdul Fattah Isahaku, who did something very key in terms of powering Leicester City's return to the English Premier League by winning the championship. Now he played 42 games, scored 7 goals and provided 13 assists. Now there's a big conversation about him because there is a big sale coming up, and his mother club, Stanford FC, which is owned by Honorable Haruna Idrisu, the immediate past minority leader in Parliament, can just become something big as well. They could be smiling to the bank. We'll talk about that in a bit. Antoine Semenyo of Bournemouth also playing 33 games, scoring 8 goals and providing 2 assists. Now, Jordan Ayew of Crystal Palace recording a lot of consistency, 35 games, 4 goals and 8 assists. And then his teammate Jeffrey Schlupp, 31 games, 2 goals. Goals are not exactly expected from Jeffrey Schlupp, considering where he operates from on the pitch. Also providing 3 assists. And Inaki Williams, 36 appearances for Athletic Bilbao, 13 goals scored and 5 assists. And then we'll talk about LA Galaxy's Joseph Painter, 43 games, 13 goals and 9 assists. Osman Bukhari having 35 games, 10 goals scored and having 10 assists as well. And then FC North Zealand's Ibrahim Osman playing 40 games, scoring 9 goals and providing 7 assists. Now, Olympic Lyon's Ernest Nyama playing 35 games, having 7 goals and 3 assists. Andre Dede Ayew, captain of the Black Stars, playing 17 games, scoring 5 goals and yet to record any assists, playing for Le Havre in the French League. That's his mother league. He built his foundations in his football from the French League. Very, very key there. So Fifi Manfred joins us for the rest of the conversation. Fifi, good to have you there. Good to have you here. And so Fifi, thank you very much for joining us on the show. Okay, can you kindly unmute so that we can hear you?
So we also had.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Great stuff, great stuff. Let's get into the conversation now. Is it a good indication? Probably, are we jumping ahead of ourselves to think that it's really going well for some key players of the Black Stars? How do we position all of this?
Thank you very much once again. It's going well, actually. I think that's the truth. We are only looking over our shoulders because in the last few years, it hasn't particularly gone well for the individual players of the Black Stars in the various leagues across Europe. But if you look at the last few months, things seem to be going well. And this is something that we projected when we entered this year, because Fatawu Issahaku was struggling when he was in Portugal. He made that very, very good decision, his management and himself. You remember before Fatawu Issahaku went to even FC Porto, Sporting Lisbon, there were other people, there were Bayer Leverkusen, there were other teams that wanted him. He opted to go to Portugal, and then later he found himself in Leicester City because he wasn't getting that playing time that he desired to get under Ruben Amorim. Now he's getting the playing time under Enzo Maresca, and he's playing some good stuff. In fact, he has been the poster boy on and off the pitch for Leicester City. His numbers are huge, over 20 plus goal contributions, goals and assists this season for Leicester season, and propelling them to get back into the English Premier League has been huge. And the fact that there is a clause in that contract that is going to be a sale, which you mentioned, is a big one for him. It's an environment that he himself has grown in. He seems to like. There are Nigerian colleagues there that he seems to be have found that camaraderie with. Talking of Ndidi and there are other Nigerian, Kelechi Iheanacho in the Leicester City team. So he has been good for Fatawu Issahaku, and that in turn has been good for Ghana. If you look at Enes Dapianuama was in the Danish Superliga. Then the big move came to FC Lyon. When it happened, we were all asking ourselves, how is he going to fit into the French Ligue 1? And he has been brilliant for Lyon. And mind you, Lyon has been a huge conveyor belt for some of the world's best talents. Benzema was from Lyon. A while ago, Bradley Barcola, that plays for Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League, was from that Lyon conveyor belt of huge.
Yeah, I thought you were going to start with the legendary Michael Essien because he
Exactly.
did a lot from that ground. Yeah,
exactly, and that's spot on. I mean, if you're talking about Ghanaians, then it should be Michael Essien, who also came from that Lyon conveyor belt. So it has been brilliant for him at Pioneer. The last time they played against Paris Saint-Germain, he was on the score sheet, and it tells you the quality that he has in there.
Talk about scoring these very important goals. I mean, we can backtrack and look at quite a few of them. The likes of Enes Nuyama, they've all recorded key goal-scoring moments against big clubs and all of that. But talk about this ground or these grounds, these clubs that serve as nurturing grounds for big moments and big days. It's good to note that now, Leicester City just seems to have some default association with Ghanaian players. I mean, you look at the long run that Den Lamate had there. Now Abdul Fattah Issahaku. So that then could become the Udinese of the English Premier, because you do remember that in Udinese, for instance, we've had the Asamoah Gyan's, we've had the Emmanuel Ajimambedus, the Rabiu Mohammeds, Mohamed Gago, and all of that playing in that club. And as each player goes there and performs, you seem to see that the club also gets this relative level of comfort and confidence in Ghanaian talents, meaning that they're able to, always turn to Ghana for options.
Yeah. And that's very important. I mean, you remember that for someone like Amate, he had a very, very good reputation when he was at Leicester City, and Fattah seems to be following in that direction as well, and that is very, very good. Even as it stands now, you remember when Baba Rahman made that move to Chelsea, the reference was Essien, because Essien was a huge player for Chelsea while he was there. So it is very important. And for me, particularly for Fatawu Issahaku, it was so important. His manager, Enzo Maresca, spoke about when he joined the club and how he has grown. He spoke about how he was erratic at the beginning, but he seemed to have grown as a player. He seemed to understood exactly what he needs. And talking about those big goals, Nat, we speak about the fact that our team yes, isn't that quality that we had in the ACNs, Muntaris, and whatnot. But one of those things that made the ACNs, that made the Muntaris, that made the Appears and the likes was the experience that they garnered abroad. And we are now getting a crop of young players who are also carving their own path, who are also walking in the sands of time and getting their own experiences. One which is going to be very important when they don the jerseys of the Black Stars. So Ernest Appiah Nuama has been instrumental for his team. Mind you, while Osman Bukhari is still in the Danish Superliga, he has already been signed to Brighton and Hove Albion. And I think this summer or next summer, he's going to join Brighton and Hove Albion. Also get a chance to play in the English Premier League, which is very, very important. Getting most of our attackers to play in a league that is of high value, that is very, very difficult to succeed in. If they get that experience, definitely those performances will translate into the Black Stars, and definitely we are going to get some successes. One that we've not had in a while now. We're going to get some successes in the